Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, folks. As you know, my name is Luis Baptista. I'm here with United Way's BoSTEM initiative, and we are here to inspire the next generation of STEM professionals. If you're a student listening in, welcome. You are in for a treat. If you're an educator sharing this video with your younger audience, thank you so much for doing so. We are so excited to have this session happen today. As you know, the STEM chat sessions are an opportunity for you to learn about STEM careers and how you can see yourself in a STEM career pathway. Today, we have a special volunteer today who's here to talk about her career pathway. And I don't want to say too much about the work that's happening there, but our special guest is going to share about her career pathway and the work happening in her world. So please join me in welcoming our guest, Asel. Hi, Asel. Please introduce yourself and let us know what you do at Mass General.
Hi, Louis. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm very excited to be here today. My name is Asel, and I'm a research fellow at the Rockmill Lab at the Massachusetts General Hospital. And I was born and raised. My hometown is very far from the US. I was born and raised in Biscuit, Kyrgyzstan. I went to medical school there, and then I got this amazing opportunity to pursue a PhD at the University of Leicester in England, thanks to fellowship from Schlumberger Foundation. It's called Faculty for the Future program, which has completely changed my life and sparked this passion for science. So I was studying the bacterium that's called Mycobacterium tuberculosis at the University of Leicester. It was very interesting. And after completion of my PhD, I came to Boston and joined the drug discovery group at Northeastern University, trying to find new drugs against tuberculosis and trying to figure out how they work. A couple of years after my postdoc, I actually decided to take a break to raise kids. And I think that break, as everyone knows, has been a little bit extended by the pandemic that hit the whole world in 2020. And now I have recently joined this lab. Absolutely fascinated by the work that's going in the lab, where instead of conventional antibiotics, the lab is trying to find the ways to fight infections by making so-called anti-infectives, basically trying to make bacteria weaker rather than killing it using drugs. The big part of the work at the lab is focused on so-called host-directed therapeutics, where again, we are studying host tolerance and trying to find ways. Is there any way to make us more resilient to bacterial infections? So yeah, that's briefly about my background and my work.
Very exciting. So students, I don't know if you caught that we are sitting in the world of science, medical sciences, cell biology specifically. So Asel, your perspective is really exciting. So, our students who are listening in might come, with a little bit of an introduction or foundation, understanding of the sciences and cell biology overall. What would you say, Asel, is your favorite part of your work?
Working as a researcher is like holding several jobs at the same time, because the work itself has so many different aspects. Like you need to be planning your experiments. You are the one who will be actually doing the experiments. You are executing them. Then you are analyzing all the data, and then you need to come up, and then you are responsible to present that data in the form of like papers and publications. And there's this organizational part. It's literally like 5 in 1, holding many jobs together. So I think my favorite part is actually reading papers, because this is your job. You need to be reading, and you need to be reading a lot, and maybe analyzing the data that you finally got. So I think that's the most interesting part, where everything that you've been doing, sometimes for months and many times for years in research, just it's like a puzzle coming together. So I really like that part, where you just sit down to take a break and say, okay, I'm going to be looking at my results and see what's going on and what's my next step. So I would say that's the favorite part of the work for me.
Yeah, it sounds so exciting because there's so many different moving parts. You can kind of pause on one thing, pick up something else, start something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
again, you have a lot of independence in that sense. Say, you will be the one who will be planning your day, your week, your month. There are certain things that are fixed. For example, lab meetings where you are presenting your results, the meetings with your PI, which is principal investigator, boss, basically. But apart from that, you do have a lot of freedom and flexibility to organize your work.
I can imagine our students who are listening in, and they're probably thinking in their minds, like, yeah, I remember working on a project and we were having so many different pieces going on, tracking this and pouring samples here, pipetting there. I totally understand. So, I mean, there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of moving parts with your job. It definitely keeps you on your toes. What are some challenges you think that, a person in your job might face or should expect to prepare themselves?
Again, like in a big sense, I think the biggest challenge for any researcher is becoming an independent researcher. Usually, you go to grad school, you receive your PhD, then you continue your research under the mentorship of a professor as a postdoc for usually up to 5 years. And then you are expected to become an independent researcher and start your own lab. But these timeframes are not fixed, obviously. For some people, it takes like a decade, 8 years, 7 years. It all depends on a particular person. I don't know, availability of funding. So I think the biggest challenge in academic science is becoming an independent researcher, finding your own field, basically building your own fields, finding your own niche and starting your own lab. I think that is the most challenging part if you are planning to stay in academic science. But as I mentioned before, there are so many opportunities after finishing at school. So it really depends, where do you see yourself as your long-term career. So if you ask me if we're talking about academic science, I believe that the hardest thing is becoming an independent researcher.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, so students, if you're listening, I mean, I know some of us might consider ourselves to be STEM scholars, right? Like students know they're just like, I love this stuff. I want to be in the lab. This is what I'm going to do. Just to kind of keep that on the radar, right? Like there are going to be some challenges to expect, but very rewarding because you have a lot of flexibility when you do land in that job. You can find a different position, you can pivot, lots of
Absolutely,
opportunity.
yes. That's I think that's the beauty. I don't think that I realized it though until I came to US for a postdoc. I really thought that, oh, that's it. Once you get a PhD, that's the only application of your PhD. You have to be a researcher at the
Yeah,
university and trying to raise the academic ranks. But here I realized maybe it's also the location. I happen to be in Boston, and as you know, such an amazing city with absolutely unique ecosystem, as I call it, of universities, startups, such a unique environment.
ecosystem.
Yes, like I said, ecosystem, which made me realize that there are so many ways to apply your PhD. You can go to industry, and even within academia, you can support research in so many other ways. So it's not just the only path that you have to take, that, okay, I have to now become a researcher, become an independent researcher, become a professor. There are the multiple opportunities where you can, depending on your goals, depending on your interests, you can adjust that career path to your own, I don't know, taste, liking.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Asel, I mean, what you're saying here is such a powerful piece because not only are we challenging what a lot of folks think is what a typical researcher is, we're showing our students that you can literally make this decision in the way that benefits you or complements your style, your interests, abilities, like you're mentioning. So I just want to say thank you for sharing your perspective because our students are gaining some insight into the research world, the sciences, and cell biology, of course. I want to thank you also for taking the time to join us for our STEM chat session. We're here at the end, unfortunately, but I know that some kids might be excited to continue conversations offline. So if you have any last words for our students, now would be the time to share, please.
I mean, again, I would say as just follow your interest and follow your passion. I really think that that's the main thing to focus on when you are trying to choose a long-term career path, because everything else, I feel like in every single profession, you can build your own path. So
Mhm.
the most interesting part is like it has to be something that you're really excited about. It has to be something that
Yes.
you enjoy, and it has to be something that you like, because obviously you will be doing it for a very long time. So yes, just find out who you are, try to figure out what do you like. That would be my advice.
Awesome. Well said.
Mhm.
Thank you so, so much, Asel. Students, thank you so much for listening in. I hope that you walked away with some nuggets. I know I sure did. We're learning about the world of research and cell biology. Educators, as you know, I did mention if you wanted to continue conversations offline, you have my contact information. So please reach out to the BoSTEM team and we can connect you to Asel offline if that is a need of yours. But we are here at the end of our session. Thank you so, so much for joining us. And I wish you a great, great holiday season.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye now.